Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
There is so much to be thankful for, and I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for our ministerial team that came together tonight to create this service, Reverend Mindy, Reverend Sheila, Reverend Shirley, and we know Reverend Michael and Karen are with their families at this time, and we know that their prayers, their love, their light are with us. And so you're already feeling the gratitude, the energy of thankfulness, of the good in the space. Let's raise up our consciousness on this. Turn to the person next to you and say, I'm grateful for you. And if you're live streaming, I invite you to type in, I'm grateful for you. Share it with the others who are live streaming. So much to be thankful for, especially each other, especially the spiritual community where we come together tonight to celebrate the spiritual practice of Thanksgiving. It's practice and it's an important part of the work we do to stay in alignment with our authentic nature, the truth of who we are. Isn't it wonderful that tomorrow we start off the holidays? The holidays start off with Thanksgiving, and it's a holiday where the whole country, hopefully, is off. Hopefully, most of us, I know some of us will be here working for our Thanksgiving potluck, and it's a blessing to serve as well. That we get to take some time off to be together, to have fellowship and commune, and to celebrate the good that we've experienced throughout the course of the year, the prosperity and the abundance. And the spirit of this Thanksgiving goes back to, in this country, of this holiday, goes back to the earliest Thanksgiving. The earliest one recorded was in 1621. And our pilgrims came over to the New World, what they saw as the New World, and they came to this country, and it was different. The farming was different, the land was different, and they weren't sure what to do. There were only so many supplies that could come overseas to them to help them. And so they were grateful that the Native Americans didn't kill them, but helped them and showed them how to work the soil. And they worked together, and that fall of 1621, when they had that first amazing, bountiful harvest. Can you just imagine how grateful they were, and what a sign that it was of the goodness, of the prosperity and abundance that this harvest came forth for them, and they joined together. It's reported that there were 90 Native Americans and 53 pilgrims who sat together for 3 days and feasted. Can you imagine a 3-day Thanksgiving? Now, I know some of you probably have leftovers, and it's like a 3-day Thanksgiving at your house. 3 days of just feasting. And that's the spirit that this holiday comes from, that comes through the generations to us, of coming together, people who didn't speak even the same language, but knew the language of spirit, and were able to connect and create together. So I'm wondering if you are finding yourself in a new world this Thanksgiving. Is Thanksgiving showing up a little differently than it has throughout your life? I know it is for me. And when I grew up, everybody lived in the same house. My family, my parents, and my siblings, we were in the same house. And so Thanksgiving meant for me the night before watching a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, right? And then the day of Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving Day parade on TV, watching that, enjoying the smells of the food cooking, helping out, usually helping to set the table. That was something that I got to do, sometimes helping with the food prep. And then enjoying an amazing meal of many courses with my Italian family who love to cook, addition to the turkey, the pumpkin pie, there was definitely a pasta course, a lasagna or baked ziti was in there too. And so we got to celebrate each other in that way, and that was our history. But now things are different, and we're in the new world of Houston. Houston is our new world, and our family's at different places. I have family in New York, I have family in Florida, so we have to be creative. And how can we all come together and celebrate? Some years we've been here 5 years. Sometimes we've gone out to eat. Sometimes we've gone to David's parents, and Felicity's with us now, so Thanksgiving's different now. We have a child. We have our 3-year-old daughter, and I'm grateful that this year my mom is coming from Florida. She's going to come tomorrow morning, and we get to all be together. But there's that sadness of, I wish everybody could be together like it used to be. It's going to be different, and so we have to connect in a different way. We video chat with our family who's distant, or text, phone, different ways that we come together and celebrate each other. We're going to create it differently. So let's look at Thanksgiving this year with the eyes of realizing that, yes, it might be different from the way it was when we were growing up. Different people, different place, different opportunities. Maybe you're not even with your family. Lots of people celebrate a Friendsgiving. I don't know if you have plans for that. There were years when I was in ministerial school where we didn't get to go home for Thanksgiving, and one of our instructors opened up her home to us, and we had a potluck, and all the students came, and some of the teachers, and that was a great way to celebrate. And if you don't have a place to celebrate tomorrow, know that you're welcome here. 11:30, just show up and be a part of our community here, and it's going to be really just a wonderful, joyous celebration together. Gosh, I think about some Thanksgivings. There was one Thanksgiving, David and I had really just hoped we could have, when we first got married, just a Thanksgiving of the two of us together. And we made these little Cornish game hens. Instead of a big turkey, because there's two of us, we made Cornish game hens. And we had this corn chowder that was served in an acorn squash. It was just lovely little time together. So it could just look differently every year. But we know Thanksgiving, it's more than food, it's more than football, right? It's more than football. That can be a fun part of it too. That there's a higher spiritual purpose when we open ourselves up to that purpose. That spiritually, being in a state of consciousness of thanksgiving, it opens up the heart. When we live with a grateful heart, we live in an awareness of our wholeness. That there is already a wholeness, that our minds can take us to a place where we're looking to see, oh, this person isn't here, or I don't have this in my life, I wanted to do that, and we start looking for what's missing. When we get centered into gratitude, that's when we see the completeness, the perfection, like Sheila mentioned in the meditation. We open our minds to recognize that nothing really is truly missing. It may look different, and we may need to open our minds to see it differently this year and at this time. The Apostle Paul guides us in Scripture and says, in all things, give thanks. In all things. So interesting that he didn't say for all things. That there are so many things that are going on that it can be challenging to feel grateful for. It can be challenging when you turn on the news and you see things going on that you'd rather not see going on. You'd like to see solved or fixed or healed, and you feel like, oh, what can I do? Even in that, we can be in peace. Even in that, we can be grateful, because gratitude is not dependent on the circumstances of your life. We think it is. We can be in a consciousness of gratitude and allow it to be a causative agent. Allow it to draw into your life the good that you're envisioning, imagining, the energy that brings to you the people, the circumstances that bring joy. We can get confused and think, well, gratitude is an emotional response. I see a beautiful rainbow and I feel grateful. Now I get this delicious meal, I'm grateful. Well, if we wait around for that kind of gratitude, then we might not get to experience the fullness of life. Just hoping that we can just find it in a response. We can create it. It's a creative process, and it comes from within. We can have an experience of that right now, and to just invite you to create your own gratitude by just taking a moment, closing your eyes, putting your hand on your heart. Just feel gratitude right there in your heart. Let's just say together, I'm grateful. Feel the energy of your heart just expanding, expanding. Grateful. And we can give ourselves that gift. Anytime, no reason. No reason. And if you're really looking for something to be grateful for, if you're having a hard time with it, pull way back from all the circumstances of the world. Imagine the possibilities that are present even in your own hands. Just to have hands, to be able to have the potential to cook a meal, to play piano, to knit a sweater, to pick up leaves, to give a hug. So much potential just in hands we can be grateful for. Eyes to see the beauty, the light, the colors, the people. Hear music, hear people talk, hear the voices of those that we love, a voice to speak, to sing, to share our good, nose to smell. That if we could really, really get into a realization of how much good we have just right here, we can get into the fullness of gratitude. Grateful literally means full of greatness, full of greatness. So when we feel gratitude, the fullness of greatness, this is who you are. You are great. You're getting in touch with your authentic nature because you are already full of greatness. That is how you are created in the image and likeness of God, as full of greatness. And there are situations that really we can have a hard time feeling gratitude about. And recently, just in the last couple of weeks, we lost one of our staff members, Jaime Gomez, in a terrible accident. It was really sudden. And it's hard to say, well, you know, there's something to be grateful for that happened. It's hard. But I believe that when we take it in prayer, we can see, well, you know, what would Jaime want us to know? What is the gift he would want us to have from this experience? And I'd like to think that Jaime would want us to know that life is precious, that every moment is precious, that we can think, we just don't know what our end date is. We may think we have years, we could have days, we don't know. And to see the love that has come forth when we're given permission, when we're grieving, to really express to each other how much we care, and that we can do that every day. We don't have to wait for a loss to remember how blessed we are, to let people know how much we love them and care for them. We have some wonderful gratitude rituals that we practice in the church office. One is at our staff meeting. Every time we begin a staff meeting on Tuesday mornings, we have a gratitude round, and we just get to share one thing that we're grateful for. It could be just to be alive, could be grateful for our family, could be grateful for something coming good in our lives, or grateful in advance for something we want to see manifest. And just hearing everybody's gratitude, it's uplifting, and also allows us to know each other's hearts, to know what our values are, and we really connect more. We also had a staff lunch just last week, and one thing that was really neat about that was it had a Thanksgiving theme, and there were cards that were put on the table, and we got to write a card for the person to our right and to our left, and just write one thing that we're grateful for that person. And you could just feel the energy of the space transforming as people received that. Oh, like they're not just grateful for me. They're grateful because, the way that I smile, or the way that I give, or just so many different possibilities, things that came up for each other. And just invite you at Thanksgiving, if you've always gone around and just said what you're grateful for, you may want to start a tradition this year of sharing what you're grateful for about the person to your right or the person to your left. What is it about them that you're grateful for? And just see what that brings as we expand our gratitude beyond ourselves. We recognize that if we want peace, and we want peace, right? We want peace of mind. We want to let go of the crazy monkey mind, busy stuff. We want peace. We've got to be grateful. We've got to be grateful that is what brings us peace, even if things aren't exactly the way that we like, right? Because it isn't ever really, it's always something you could find. Well, could have picked a better outfit, or a car could have been, a better color. You think crazy things. If then my life would be perfect, or something like that, right? If we want peace, we center in gratitude, and just say thank you for the situation, the person, that challenging person. Thank you, because we don't really know what the blessing is that comes out in the end, what the learning is, what the growth is. And I can think of people who I've had in my life who later I look back and said, that was hard, but I grew. Maybe I needed to learn boundaries. Maybe that was something I learned. Maybe I need to learn acceptance, forgiveness, right? We teach a spiritual law in Unity that what we focus on in consciousness increases. That's the spiritual law. That's the truth. So when we focus on gratitude, we focus on the good, that good expands. It cannot help to expand because we are creative beings. We're creating our experience, and gratitude expands the good in our consciousness. When I realized I was speaking on gratitude, sometimes when I get this topic, I get a little resistance comes up. I'm like, gratitude. What am I going to say about that? I can say about that. I'm like, what is my hang up about gratitude? It's easy, just be grateful, right? And so I had to go back. I had to pray, I had to meditate, I had to go back and think about it. And I remembered when my parents saying to me, now, of course, I might have been a little difficult in the moment that they said this to me. Well, you're just not grateful, and you don't appreciate how we sacrifice for you. You ever hear your parents say that? And I look back and I go, my parents, they each had 2 jobs. They worked hard to provide for us and everything. But gratitude doesn't come out of shame. I didn't like being shamed. That didn't feel good to me, And so I recognized I had that little hitch around gratitude because of that. And I do believe that maybe it came out of a difficult situation that they really wanted me to see the good that I had and not take it for granted. The true gratitude comes from authenticity. It comes from authentically coming from the heart, not from being forced into it. Yeah, thank you, Mom, But that true gratitude is what arises as an attitude of the heart. I want to share with you a Zen story about living in gratitude. It's a Zen parable, and it's the parable of the magnificent strawberry. And the story goes that there was this Buddhist monk, and he was walking through the mountains one day, and a tiger started chasing after him, trying to eat him, okay? And so he started running away from the tiger, and the tiger chased him all the way to the edge of the cliff. And so the monk he went over the side of the cliff, and he started to climb down to get away from the tiger, and below him were 5 more tigers who wanted to eat him, who were coming up after him. And he hung there on a vine, and he's looking for his options. His options didn't look too great in that moment. And he looks next to him, and he sees this big, juicy, red, beautiful strawberry. And he goes, wow, what a magnificent strawberry. And he reaches out and he eats it. And that's the whole story. You don't find out what happened. Did he die? I don't know. I love that story. It's so zen, right? What is it? Let's meditate on what that is. So what's the spiritual message here is that how often are our minds on the tigers in our life? What's nipping at us? What we think's trying to eat us up? Just get it in our mind. How many times have you woken up in the middle of the night thinking about that person or that situation, running you off the edge of the cliff, right? And here is this monk in the throes of death, potentially, right? And he was present to the good. And he saw the beauty. He saw this juicy, magnificent strawberry, and he enjoyed it. And that's gratitude. That's the practice of living in gratitude. He was fully alive to just that moment, the strawberry moment. Who knows what happened next? But he discovered good in the face of fear, and we can do that. We can make that our spiritual practice. Now, if you're living on guard, if you're living with your heart closed off, the thing is that you close off to the good and the bad. You want to protect yourself, you close off. And so we work to keep opening up that heart again. When I teach metaphysics, one of the practices I have students do is they get this card. It's called a walk with your consciousness. And you get to go out on this beautiful Unity of Houston campus, and you have the card, and you record your thoughts, your feelings, what you're sensing, and what you're intuiting, okay? So you're walking with your consciousness. Carl's done it. And 10, 15 minutes on this campus, you have the gorgeous, like, old trees here. You get to hear the leaves in the wind, the fountains, the grass. It's just gorgeous campus, right? And people come back, and there's always at least a few people who come, and we go through the card. What did you see? What did you feel? That kind of thing. And what they get to notice is that they weren't even present to the campus. They were thinking about a problem they had at home, something going on at work that they have to get to do later, thinking about an idea that came up in class that they're just trying to figure out. They didn't hear the wind. They didn't see the tree. They didn't smell the jasmine that's on the bushes by the meditation garden. Missed out on the good that was present there because of the tigers in their mind. And that's just such a wonderful practice of self-awareness when we recognize my mind is keeping me from being fully alive and present. Gratitude brings us back into our aliveness, our fullness. Charles Fillmore said this about Thanksgiving. He defined it this way. He said, Thanksgiving will keep the heart fresh. For true thanksgiving may be likened to rain falling upon ready soil, refreshing it and increasing its productiveness. And we can let that gratitude be like a refreshing rain washing over us, bringing forth the prosperity and abundance and good that's already inherent in us, bringing it into our awareness so we see the good that's already here. So I just want to invite you this Thanksgiving, knowing that Thanksgiving is not just one day, but it's a spiritual practice for every day, to give it lavishly in the way that we see nature giving us this lavish fall. They say that we don't have fall in Houston. I think we do. I've seen it. Red leaves, yellow leaves, orange leaves, brown leaves. The leaves are changing and they're falling, and nature is just giving away this beauty to us, exploding everywhere, not caring who sees it, not caring what you do you rake it or not rake it. But it's just sharing, it's lavishly giving of its beauty and its life And so we can do that for each other. We can just lavishly shower each other in gratitude and in awareness of good. We're going to get to express that gratitude now in a very tangible way in the ritual that Reverend Mindy is going to lead us in with the leaves that you received on your way in. And so I just want to close my time with you, with us joining together in an affirmation. I am grateful in all things. Let's say that together. I am grateful in all things, and so it is.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.